The 2026 economic shift, new rules of money. Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. You know, the financial systems we all grew up trusting, the exact strategies our parents relied on, they aren't just shifting slowly anymore. They are being fundamentally replaced. We are literally looking at a scenario where the rules of money have changed basically overnight. So today we're going to unpack Nexus Wealth's urgent thesis. We're going to figure out exactly why the global economic machine broke in 2026 and why walking into this new era blind is absolutely the biggest financial risk you can take right now.
Old money rules, save cash, get a pension, trust the system. Versus new money rules, own assets, build systems, understand the machine. For decades, the roadmap to security was, well, it was incredibly simple, right? Work hard, save your cash, rely on that pension, and just trust the system to take care of you. It was the classic era of getting a gold watch at retirement. But that old rulebook, it's essentially being ripped up page by page. The new reality demands a complete paradigm shift, moving from passive trust to active ownership. It's really no longer about what you manage to scrape together in a basic savings account. It's entirely about what systems and assets you actively build. You simply can't afford to just be a passenger anymore. You have to understand the machine.
Three massive forces colliding. To really understand why these rules are changing so violently right now, you have to picture a giant economic clock where the hands are suddenly spinning completely out of control. We have to objectively look at the three massive, simultaneous macroeconomic forces driving this shift. It's a profound, historical collision hitting at exactly the same time. This is the perfect storm that leads us directly to the 2026 breaking point. Let's break them down. 300 million. Force one is artificial intelligence. And forget the, oh, that's 10 years from now sci-fi warnings. This is happening today. Goldman Sachs estimates a staggering 300 million jobs globally are at risk of automation right now. Whether you're wearing a blue collar, a white collar, or no collar at all, practically no one is entirely immune to this wave. Think of it like the invention of the assembly line, but happening at absolute light speed. And the ripple effect? When millions of jobs vanish, incomes vanish. And when income dries up, consumer spending completely collapses, sending a massive shockwave that threatens to severely contract the broader economy. Force two is the United States debt crisis hitting an absolute tipping point. The national debt is currently sitting at a mind-boggling $35 trillion and, climbing by the second. But here is the number that should actually make you sit up and pay attention. The annual interest payments on that debt alone just crossed $1 trillion per year. To put that into perspective, that is literally more than the entire United States defense budget. Just think about that math for a second. When a government spends more just servicing past debt than on building aircraft carriers and paying soldiers, the financial physics dictate only two ways out. Taxes must explode, or the currency's purchasing power will collapse. In partially reporting on Force 3, Nexus Wealth notes a massive geopolitical earthquake concerning the US dollar. For 80 years, basically since the end of World War II, the dollar has held the undisputed throne as the world's reserve currency. But right now, BRICS nations, alongside 40 other countries, are actively building new systems to bypass the dollar entirely. We're seeing oil deals being settled in yuan, cross-border trade happening in rupees, and gold-backed digital networks are actively being tested. Global trade routes are quite literally being redrawn right in front of us. The middle-class squeeze. So, what does this all mean? How do these massive global forces actually feel sitting around the kitchen table? Because this isn't just abstract high finance meant for Wall Street bankers. It's a direct, visceral squeeze on everyday people. We are seeing a permanent repricing for a new economic era. The rising costs in housing, food, healthcare, and education, they aren't just temporary spikes that will magically calm down. The prices you were used to paying for groceries or rent are simply not coming back. We are living in a fundamentally more expensive reality. So the crucial point is really captured right here in the data. Over the last 20 years, the average worker's productivity grew by 65%. You worked harder, produced more, answered emails at 9 p.m. on a Tuesday, and became significantly more efficient. But over that exact same 20-year window, your real wage growth only moved by 4%. Actually, let that sink in. You did 65% more work, but gained almost zero extra purchasing power. It is a stunning disconnect. Which leaves us with a very uncomfortable question. Who actually captured the value from all that extra effort? Asset owners thriving and wealth accelerating versus wage earners drowning and savings eliminated by inflation? The answer to that question is that this 2026 economic shift is absolutely not hurting everyone equally. The gap between thriving asset owners and drowning wage earners is rapidly accelerating. It's exactly like being on a treadmill that keeps speeding up while you lose ground. If you are just earning wages and saving cash in a high inflation environment, your savings are quietly being eradicated. Every single year you save in cash, you mathematically fall further behind. Asset owners are riding the elevator up, while wage earners are taking the stairs with weights tied to their ankles. Every economic disruption in history created a new generation of wealthy people. But hey, it isn't all doom and gloom. In fact, Nexus Wealth points out a really powerful historical truth here. Just like the 2008 financial crash created a massive amount of millionaires, this 2026 disruption is an incredible opportunity for those who adopt early. The people who bought assets during the fear of 2008 won big. The people who panic sold funded them. Disruption is ultimately just a massive transfer of wealth from the uninformed to the prepared. Number 1, own productive assets. 2, build AI-proof skills. 3, create multiple incomes. 4, position globally. And 5, understand CBDCs. To empower ourselves and make sure we're on the winning side of this wealth transfer, let's systematically walk through Nexus Wealth's 5 new rules of money for the 2026 economy. Rule 1, idle cash versus productive assets. Diving right into it, you must own productive assets. In this high inflation environment, holding idle cash guarantees you fall behind. It's no longer a safe haven. It's a melting block of ice, actively shrinking in purchasing power every single day. Owning productive assets, things that intrinsically grow in value and work for you while you sleep, like rental property, dividend-paying stocks, or hard commodities, is absolutely essential. If your money isn't working for you, it's actively bleeding away. Rule 2 focuses on premium AI-proof skills: creativity, emotional intelligence, complex judgment, and relationship building. With 300 million jobs at risk, you absolutely must build premium skills that robots and AI cannot easily replicate. You have to safeguard your human advantage. Sure, AI can write flawless code or process massive datasets in milliseconds, but it struggles deeply with true creativity, nuanced judgment, and genuine relationship building. These are the high-value skills of the new economy. To thrive now, you need to double down on being aggressively human. Rule 3. One job equals one step from disaster. Relying on a single income stream is far too risky in 2026. If you have one job, you are exactly one pink slip away from absolute disaster. Think of your income like a stool. A one-legged stool topples over the second someone accidentally bumps it. You need at least 2 streams of income just for basic stability, maybe your day job and a side hustle or investments. But really, you need 3 streams if you want to achieve absolute freedom. Rule 4 covers globally traded assets, commodities, international index funds, and hard assets with universal value. You need to position globally, but think locally. Remember that massive shift away from the dollar we discussed earlier? Because of that, your financial strategy can't safely live inside just one country's currency anymore. You need to diversify beyond local fiat into hard assets that hold universal value, regardless of geopolitical shifts. Simply put, your money needs a passport. Rule 5. CBDC, Central Bank Digital Currency. A digital form of a country's fiat currency that will fundamentally change how money functions. Finally, we are required to understand the imminent arrival of these CBDCs in places like the US and the UK. But don't confuse this with just tapping your debit card or using Apple Pay. A CBDC is programmable money, issued directly by a central bank, meaning theoretically it could dictate exactly how and where you spend it. Grasping the systemic transition early gives you a significant informational advantage. The biggest risk in 2026, thinking it is still 2015. As we wrap up this explainer, I want you to remember that the biggest risk you face right now isn't just losing money in the markets. The biggest risk is acting like the old rules still apply. You cannot walk confidently into a 2026 landscape wearing 2015 glasses. You will completely misread the terrain. Financial freedom today requires extreme directional awareness. It requires the courage to act before the rest of the crowd realizes the rules have fundamentally changed. Are you learning the new rules or still playing by the old ones? So I'll leave you with this final, vital thought to consider for your own financial posture. The 2026 shift is not waiting for anyone to be ready. In a world where the board has been completely reset almost overnight, the most expensive thing you can possibly be right now is uninformed. So ask yourself, are you actively learning the new rules of money, or are you just hoping the old ones will somehow work again?